Hey everyone, I'm talking to you about my new book called God, Where Are You? It's a book about the wilderness, a season in which every Christian journeys through. It's not a punishment, it's not an abandonment, it's actually a training time. Now, what I am talking about is what prolongs the wilderness season. Let me say this. God only intended Israel to be in the desert for 1 year. They ended up extending it to 40 years. You can't shorten your wilderness season, but you sure can lengthen it. What prolongs? Well, Paul lists in 1 Corinthians 10, these things happened to them as examples. They were written down to warn us who live at the end of the age. In what should have only been an 11-day journey ended up taking them 40 years. And why was their wilderness extended? Because Paul said it. They lusted after evil things. They were idolaters. They committed sexual immorality. They tested God, and they were complainers. Stop right there. Okay, when I was a young man, a little boy, well, I should say a teenager, this new program came on the scene called Sesame Street. My little sister was watching that, and I got to catch a few episodes. Well, they had this little song that they sang called "One of These Things Just Doesn't Belong Here." And, you know, they'd show a picture of a horse, a picture of a car, a picture of a motorcycle, and a picture of an alligator. So it's real simple. The alligator doesn't belong in this group. Well, I'm looking at this list one day and I'm going, hold on. Lusting after evil things. Yes, that's a real bad sin. Idolaters. Whoo, that's bad. Sexual immorality. Yikes. Testing God. Oh my gosh, that's the big one. Complainers? I feel like singing that song. What in the... So I actually got a little perturbed. And I kind of said, God, how can you put complaining in that list with those other four? And the Holy Spirit that day, I'll never forget this, spoke to me so clearly. He said, son, complaining is a very serious sin. I said, huh? He said, son, do you know what complaining says to me? I said, what does it say? He said, complaining says to me, God, I don't like what you're doing in my life. And if I were you, I would do it differently. He said, it's a slam against my character, my plan. And I remember the day I saw that, I all of a sudden realized how serious complaining is. I remember Lisa and I, we talked about it. We started raising our children. If they complained, they got disciplined for rebellion. They understood that growing up. And I remember one time I was on I think it was a 3 or 4 day fast. It was up in the mountains. And I woke up one morning and I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, I hear the complaining in your heart. I didn't get out of bed that morning. I literally rolled to my knees and repented for the complaining in my heart. Let me tell you something. Complaining is a very serious sin. It needs to be treated like all the other four. I know most of you would flee sexual immorality. I know most of you would never tempt God. But I know a lot of you are easily tempted to complain. And Paul the Apostle makes this very clear. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling in Philippians 2. And then in the very next statement he says, do all things without complaining. It's a command. Don't complain. It will end up keeping you in your wilderness and it will prolong that season.